All right, guys, today on Should I Move There? Relocation Nation, we are going to be talking about Ottawa. And today our guest is Chris Steeves. Chris, thanks so much for being here today.
Hey, happy to be here.
So let's get into it. How did you get to Ottawa? Are you a native? What's going on?
So, yeah, I grew up in Perth, Ontario, which is a small town about an hour west of Ottawa. And I had moved to Vancouver for a number of years, pursuing my dream as a professional snowboarder, doing the Vancouver Whistler scene. And, it was a lot of fun, had some success there. Eventually, growing out of that, and, my body doesn't want to be put through all that stuff anymore. So I decided to get my real estate license and move back to the Ottawa area. Most of my family is back here, kind of across Ontario. So that was really the driving force. And I had bought and sold some real estate in my time and wanted to just get more involved with it, learn more about the ins and outs of real estate. And I thought becoming a realtor would be a great way to do that.
And I'm sure your family was happy to have you back.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
It's interesting because and I talk to more Canadians. It's like the migration patterns from like the East and the West, like people tend to kind of go back and forth. I feel like pretty often or frequently. It seems like.
Yeah, well, I would say the typical migration is to move west because Vancouver it's a very beautiful area. You've got incredible mountains there, the ocean, there's tons of beautiful islands, and it's a very nice place. And they don't have the extreme winters that we have here. And you get, one or two small snowfalls a winter, and that's it. Whereas, back here in Ontario and Quebec, we get a pretty extreme winter. So a lot of people want to move west because it's a little bit more of a mild climate. And, but then a lot of people will move back when they realize that, Vancouver is a very expensive city to live in, and it's very expensive to buy real estate there. So, it's the most expensive real estate in Canada and, one of the most expensive cities in the world. So,
nice.
A lot of people will eventually move back.
Okay. I had a professor from Ottawa in college who was a math professor, I think, or Waterloo? Is that near? Sorry, Waterloo.
Waterloo, closer to Toronto.
Oh, got it. You guys are in a triangle in a sense, or I don't know what that is, a line.
Yeah, Montreal is 2 hours east of Ottawa, and Toronto is 4 hours west. And so the vast majority of Canada's population is between those three cities. So especially the GTA, the Greater Toronto Area, I think they've half of Canada's population is all, somewhere within southern Ontario near Toronto. It's by far the biggest city and area for population.
Got it. Well, let's go into Ottawa a little bit more. So tell us about some of the things that you like about living in Ottawa and just the area in general.
Absolutely. So, Ottawa is a population of around 1 million people. And then it's on the border of Ontario and Quebec. So we are Ottawa and the city of Gatineau, which is on the Quebec side, are, kind of almost one city. So Gatineau's got another 400,000 people or so, maybe 500. So we're kind of total of 1.5 million people here. So it's a good sized city that has kind of everything that a big city has, but not over the top, too crowded or too big. So, the size of the city is very appealing in my opinion, just because, it's quick to get around. You're never really fighting with too much traffic, and, just getting, around this city is fairly quick. And I do like that. Now, we've got a lot of really nice rivers and lakes all around the city. So summer times are incredible. Tons of cottages. A lot of people have cottages around here. So summer cottaging and water sports are awesome.
Nice.
A lot of boating, and we have some nice beaches here. I play a lot of beach volleyball, which I love. And another thing that I really like about Ottawa is on the Quebec side, in Gatineau, you've got Gatineau Park, which is, that's where our mountains are. And I use the term mountains loosely. It's nothing like the West Coast with the Rockies. They're a lot smaller hills, but it's a really beautiful area nonetheless. There's about there's four ski hills within maybe 25-minute drive from the city of Ottawa. Then there's, downhill mountain biking in the summer, lots of hiking and, all the outdoor sports that we can do in these hills. And then, of course, winter, it's phenomenal cross-country skiing in the hills and downhill skiing, snowboarding, etc. So Ottawa's a very outdoorsy city. Actually, I should mention we have some of the best whitewater rafting and kayaking in the world here. Right. There is on the Ottawa River and the Rivière Rouge on the Quebec side, but in the kayaking world, we're known for some of the best kayaking anywhere. And I've done a little bit myself. I happen to love it. I'm not hardcore, but, I get out there and take advantage.
Nice. That's cool. Yeah, no, it sounds like summers, it's like there's a lot going on.
There is. And the city itself has I don't know how many miles or kilometers of bike paths, but they're literally endless all around the rivers and, over the bridges into Gatineau. And, there's incredible biking and jogging paths all around the city. So, yeah, there is a ton of outdoors stuff to do here. And in Ottawa, we call ourselves Ottawans. Ottawans are, we're very outdoorsy people in general.
Ottawans. That's awesome.
Ottawans, yeah. I don't know if that's like a well-known term, but Ottawans, yeah. Like Toronto, I believe they're Torontonians.
Okay.
Ottawa, yeah, there you
go. I love it.
Being right on the border of Quebec, and there's beautiful mountains in Quebec that are right nearby. Mont Tremblant is, the East Coast's #1 ski destination around here. So that's only 2 hours away, and it's super lively summer and winter. They've, the ski hills, excellent. There's phenomenal really high-end golf courses there. And the lakes and the boating, it's beautiful. Nice. And while I'm on the topic, I'm really going to sell you guys on Ottawa here. While I'm on the topic, Ottawa has, I believe, the most golf courses per capita of any city in Canada, I believe, and maybe North America. Nice. But, if you drive within 1 hour of the city of Ottawa, there's something like 70 golf courses. Like, it's wow. Crazy. And they're very affordable, very nice courses. Okay. So we're extremely fortunate in the golf world here.
Yeah, it's amazing. I was going to ask, what's something that's like, as a local Ottawan, like that only, like if someone is not from town, you kind of can tell. They're like, oh, they're not from here kind of thing.
I mean, the obvious ones, like if they talk with like an accent, but Ottawa's very multicultural. Canada's very, very multicultural. And we have all like the spectrum of genres of people and styles of like people's fashion sense is it's a wide spectrum. I mean, it is hard to pick out, somebody that's not from here unless they really speak, with a strong accent. And then you're going to ask them, okay, where are you from? Your accent's very, if you're Australian, you're going to know they're Australian. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but yeah, like, that's Canada in a nutshell. Very, very, very multicultural. And, you get all ethnicities, people speaking all different languages.
When I was in Toronto, yeah, that's what I noticed, like right away. I was like, oh shoot, this is like, because I live in Los Angeles, so very similar, but just more different types of immigrants. So it was really interesting. Let's move on to the economy and the job market in Ottawa. Talk to us a little bit about that.
Ottawa is home to the federal government of Canada. So we have, I believe it's, something like 120,000 government employees. When you look at all sectors of government, military, etc. Yeah, we've got a massive demographic of government employed people here. So that's a big one, obviously. And that's very steady, to kind of get into it a little more. I mean, I'm not the expert, but I think for the most part, a lot of those jobs are typically like a middle class type employment between 60,000 and 100,000 a year kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So
very stable.
Very stable, very steady,
yeah.
You got your pension, you're secure. Once you're in full time in the government, it's really, really hard to lose your job. You're pretty much set forever.
Yeah, you got to do something really dumb.
It's like a massive union.
Yeah, you got to try to get fired.
You would have to. So, this is just a personal thing, but I was never a big fan of, that lifestyle of, the office job, and you're making your 90 grand a year, and, from 8:30 till 4:30 every single day or whatever. I'm a bit more entrepreneurial, but I've noticed that since 2020, a lot of these people, I'm going to say majority of them now, are working from home. And I look at them like, that's actually a very good gig now, because you're getting all the same pay and benefits, etc., but you get to work from home. And, obviously working from home offers a lot of flexibility. And I do know some people, government workers out there, that, they're able to get all their work done in a very short amount of time. And, so they don't have to sit in front of their computer for 8 hours a day. If we can do it in 3 hours or 4 hours, I think that government employment actually got a lot more attractive recently.
Nice. That's really interesting, actually. We've kind of had similar where, we're just in this more of a hybrid kind of a world coming out of our things being normal, at least in the Western world and stuff. Yeah, that's really interesting, actually. I'm like...
a lot of these, like government and businesses as well, private sector, a government has just moved to the hybrid model, like kind of officially. They're saying, okay, we're going back to part-time from home, part-time in office. I know there's some people that would rather be full-time at home, but I think, if you only have to go into the office 2 days a week,
that's fine.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, no, I think there's an efficiency in that, because like when you're having meetings and stuff, it's a little easier.
I'll throw in another big one in Ottawa is our tech sector, especially in the West End. A lot of tech companies, software companies. Ottawa has a lot of them, a lot of really good talent here for that. And that is some massive employers here. I mean, Shopify came out of Ottawa, right? And Shopify's home base is Ottawa.
Oh, yeah, they're huge. They're going to continue to grow. Like
they're on fire.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm wondering, like, so, people are coming in the area just from all over the world, different parts of Canada. Is it the same in terms of migration? People are like, who are leaving, they also just leave to just different parts of the world? Because here in California, like a lot of people are going to Texas, Idaho, Florida kind of thing. So we know kind of where they're going, and we're like, oh, see you later.
Yeah.
What's it like for people in Ottawa when they leave, or if they leave?
Well, a kind of natural migration, I find that, this applies to Ottawa, but maybe applies to most cities. You get people from surrounding areas from smaller towns that'll migrate into a city like Ottawa, because Ottawa is, let's say, 1.5 million people. If somebody's looking for the bigger city environment or work or business takes them to like a bigger city, the migration from Ottawa would be to go to Toronto, which is more like 7 or 8 million people. Or to go to Montreal, which are, I believe, about 4 million people. So, the migration being,
just
I don't know if
people kind of, they're shifting through other big cities in Canada kind of thing.
Well, yeah, like, if you had a business and you want to grow it to a more international level, let's say, you might move from Ottawa to Toronto because Toronto is is a more international city. That it's a much bigger city, and so
Yeah,
I
it's
think
huge.
you're gonna have that's where more of like Canadian corporations will have their head offices in Toronto. So you might move there to work with them, or to grow your business or whatever. Right?
Yeah, yeah. And when you fly internationally, do you fly out of Ottawa, or do you fly like to Toronto as a connection and then you leave from there?
Good question. That's just going to depend on where you're going. I mean, there's a lot of destinations you can fly direct from Ottawa because we have an international airport here, and we're a much smaller airport than Toronto's airport. So certain destinations, you can go direct from Ottawa, and then other destinations you may have to stop over in Toronto, and then or same with Montreal. You might go Ottawa, Montreal, Miami. Yeah, actually, no. Ottawa and we have lots of direct to Miami.
Oh, do you guys? Okay, that's good. No, Miami. I was just in Miami, and Miami, they're doing things right. I feel like they're great.
I should say. There's a lot of Florida. Ottawa to Florida. Especially around winter times, we're all getting the heck out of Canada. So
that's cool.
Anyways, but it's just going to depend.
Yeah. That's interesting. How is the Ottawa airport? Like, is it busy? Is it like?
Honestly, I just flew down to Texas a couple weeks ago, and I realized how much I love the Ottawa airport.
Oh, that's cool.
There's never lineups. There's hardly any people. You never waiting for this. I don't want to say never, but I show up at that airport and I'm like, there is no issue. I walk right through bag check, customs, whatever. Just hardly waiting at all. Just boom, boom. It's actually really nice.
Nice. That's good to know. Yeah. That's super good to know.
Yeah, because again, we're a smaller city, right?
Yeah, but with the international airport, so that's a perk. That is definitely a perk. Well, yeah, this has been kind of just wrapping up in terms with Ottawa. What's something or anything we didn't cover about the area that you would like to share with everyone?
Very good question. You know what? I think we have an excellent city in many ways. We have Quebec right beside us, which is, their primary language is French. So we get a lot of bilingual people here. So the French-speaking communities, from around the world, they like to immigrate here. And, because most of the city speaks French, which is great. It adds another level of kind of culturalism to our area. And I think it's great. We got Montreal, which is an awesome city. That's 2 hours away. Toronto, another awesome city, which is 4 hours away. And then Kingston, another cool city, is a couple hours away. We got lots going on here. I think it's a lively city. Some people complain it's not busy enough or lively enough. I have a great time here. Very, very outdoorsy. Tons of stuff to do outdoors in the summer and the winter. I think it's all in all very good quality of life. Also very affordable. When you look at most aspects of Ottawa living compared to a city like Toronto, New York City is a bad example, but the affordability of this city is phenomenal. Yeah. And I've had people that come from New York City, or they come from Australia, Sydney or wherever, and they're like, why is everything so cheap here? Housing cheap, and cost of living, blah blah blah. And I'm like, it is what it is. We're not complaining. We love it.
Yeah, because Toronto is double the price for houses, right? I know it's really expensive in Toronto. When I was there, one of the taxi drivers, he was like, my house is $1 million now, and that was 5-6 years ago.
Yeah. Toronto's not cheap. Housing certainly not cheap. Either is Vancouver. But definitely a lot more affordable for real estate in Ottawa than these bigger, more developed cities. So that's a huge plus, in my opinion. Hopefully, prices will stay relatively affordable. We'll see.
Yeah, we shall see. The new year, at the time of this recording, guys, we're coming into the new year. So, but yeah, this has been super, super great, Chris. We're going to throw your Instagram and your other social handles and things like that. Best place to contact Chris if you guys have any additional questions you want to talk about Ottawa.
I'm always happy to hear from new people. Please reach out. You can find my cell phone. You can call me. If you have any questions about Ottawa, I'm always happy to answer them and tell you why it's a great city.